Kathleen Barr, and I'm your student's AP US History teacher this semester. Before we get started into looking at what you can expect for your student AP US History, I'd like to take a minute just to introduce myself so you know me a little bit more. Again, my name is Kathleen Barr, or Miss Barr. This is my 6th year here at West Ranch. I teach modern civilizations and AP US History. Fun fact about me is I am a graduate of West Ranch. I graduated as part of the 2nd graduating class. And after I graduated from West Ranch, I went to COC for a couple years where I completed my general education. And then from there, I transferred to CSUN where I received my bachelor's degree, master's degree in history, as well as my teaching credential. I love my job. I love the content I get to teach, and I'm looking forward to partnering with you to help your student be successful this semester. My email address is on this first slide, as well as the syllabus that students have received. Any questions or concerns, feel free to email me. Encourage your student to email me. I am quick to respond. I will respond within 24 hours, usually respond within 24 hours. If you email over the weekend, I may be a little bit slower to respond over the weekend, so just be a little bit patient. For this presentation, here's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be looking at the skills and themes and content that students are going to be learning that aligns with what College Board wants students to know to prepare them for the AP exam. Expectations, grading policy, and then the roles and responsibilities. So for the skills and themes, first of all, to begin with the skills, with history, oftentimes people and students just say, hey, history is a list of facts and dates, and that's it. That's all there is to it. And with the skills that College Board is requiring students, it's really causing students to look at history as more of a process, and that it's kind of like this living thing that, you know, there's connections between events, there's connections between people, and all of them, you know, really make this history thing possible. So we're going to be looking at it through that way, like cause and effect relationships, comparison, so bringing in those types of skills. Students also will be critically analyzing sources, whether they're primary sources or secondary. They're going to be looking at how the sourcing information is really important to understand the source itself and why the source was written or created in the way that it was. Students will be able to create arguments and looking at evidence and how evidence shapes arguments. And then next with themes, these are the lens by which College Board wants students to look at the content. So for example, with America and the World, an example of this would be, okay, America and the World, what was America's position on a global stage prior to the American Revolution? What about during the American Revolution? If we take it a couple hundred years later, what about during World War II? These are kind of like common threads and ways that we can track the development of America within these different areas. So this is what we're going to be looking at and focusing on during class. Here's the content students are learning this semester. Initially, in the beginning, we're looking at the European contact with the New World and slavery. Students are going to be looking at early colonial settlement and like the original 13 colonies. Next, students for our next unit will be looking at the American Revolution and the creation of the U.S. Constitution and the beginnings of this republic. Next, they will look at the antebellum period and the period, which is the period that takes place between the War of 1812 and the Civil War. And then finally, students will be looking at the causes and the actions and the effects of the Civil War and the next period of Reconstruction. The classroom platforms that we are using this semester, we're using Zoom to carry out our live components. I heard Google Meet has some good features coming out in September. I'm going to take a look at that. If I think the features make it better than Zoom, we may use that. If not, we're going to continue using Zoom. But right now we're using Zoom. Students are given the login and the link information prior to class so they can make sure they come into class on time. Students have also been told that they need to maintain the privacy of these links, that they shouldn't be sharing this information out, the links or the login information with anybody else. The other platform we are using this semester is Google Classroom. This is the way that students will have materials given to them and communicated to them. I will give announcements to them through Google Classroom. They will submit their work, and in addition to that, I will give them feedback on their work all through Google Classroom. Expectations. So students are to maintain the same professionalism in the digital classroom as they would in in-person classroom. They are to show respect for themselves, others, and property at all times and not be disruptive in the class. I told students, be kind to one another, be gracious. We're all going to be dealing with new technology and there's going to be little hiccups and bumps along the way, but let's be patient and gracious to one another. Let's encourage one another. One of the most important jobs I have as a teacher is to help, create a safe learning environment for all students. And the way that students conduct themselves is a big part of that. For tardy and like the late attendance policy, students are to report to class on time and to remain in the room until for the entire period. Additionally, students are expected to be present during attendance, during instruction and discussion. Students are to have their cameras on during our Zoom meetings. This is to ensure that they are who they say they are and that they're still in class as the class goes on. There may be times when I give students an independent assignment and they can turn their cameras off. I go, hey students, you got 15 minutes, you're going to be working on this. You may turn off your cameras at that time if they choose to do so, but they still have to stay in Zoom. After the assignment, we always come back together, whether we review it or I am just kind of re-going over like homework or stuff like that to dismiss students. And then finally, students, be ready to learn and participate. If you have questions, for example, students created goals for themselves in the beginning, the first day of class. If they feel like they are not meeting their expectations for the class, they're not really meeting, their goals, please encourage them to talk to me, to communicate, to ask questions in class. I told students, make this the class that you want it to be, participate and be an active participant in class. Because we are in this digital setting, I talk to students about what is proper netiquette, net etiquette, or positive digital citizenship. What is the behavior they should have in an online setting? Number one, be on time. Show up to class on time. Don't log in as class has started. Go ahead and log in a minute or two sooner so that you're ready for when the class starts. Be in a quiet place. If you've got a lot of distractions around you, like you've got video games over here, you've got your phone in front of you with text messages coming in, and you got all these things going on, you're going to be kind of distracted in the class. So remove distractions, turn off your phone, turn off your video games, focus in on the class. Be prepared with charged devices. Mute yourself. Students are muted throughout the Zoom session when we're in it. If a student is participating and they are being called upon, they can unmute themselves. But if I'm talking or another student's talking, they're expected to keep muted. Participation, again, be focused, be attentive, be an active participant. Chat responsibly. Zoom has a chat box feature. If students have questions or comments, they can type in there. Students are not allowed to privately chat with one another. The chat box has also been effective that if a student has a technical issue, like, they get kicked out of Zoom, then oftentimes when they come in, they can send me a private message and saying, hey, I am relogging into Zoom because I just got kicked out, and then we can work together on that. Communication, be professional in how you conduct yourselves with others. Professionalism, no screenshots, no recordings, no postings of the class and what is done in the class, because again, we've got to maintain the privacy of the classroom. Keep your camera on. If you have a virtual background, that's awesome. Keep it appropriate. And then finally, just be kind and respectful. For the grading policy, the majority of students' grades are based upon the assignments that they're turning in, like classwork, homework, assessments, projects, and really anything that I have in this little paragraph down here. Professionalism, I'll talk about that in the next slide. That's 10% of their grade. I regularly update students' grades in Infinite Campus every 1 to 2 weeks. You can see the breakdown of grades on the right on the traditional grading scale. And then finally, I do not round up grades at the end of the semester. I strongly believe that whatever a student gets, that is what they get. And I do not round up grades, so the 89.9%, that is a B+. For professionalism, there are 3 factors that that play into and determine a student's professionalism grade. Number 1 is attendance. Are they showing up? Are they showing up on time? Are they displaying proper and positive digital citizenship behavior? Engagement, are they talking in class? Are they active? Are they asking questions? Are they answering questions and giving their feedback in the class? Are they working really well in group settings and collaborating with one another? And then finally, for assignment completion, are they turning in work on time consistently? And is their work demonstrating academic honesty? Are they not cheating on it? Are they not plagiarizing on it? What I do is I look at these factors each week and I average out a score out of 5 in Infinite Campus, and then that is their weekly professionalism grade. If a student, the good thing I think with professionalism, if a student's like, okay, well, why did I get, a 4 this week? Oh, here, I didn't really talk at all during class. Okay, next week I can go ahead and improve on that. So this is a neat area where students can see their progress over time, and they can see, do I need to improve, or am I doing really well in engagement, all this stuff, and I just keep maintaining that. Absences and late work, I get that, students are going to be absent, that there's emergencies and things that happen. And I also get to with late work that sometimes students just end up forgetting, to do their work. Here are kind of the directions I have for absences and late work. So for if students miss a quiz or test, they are made known well in advance when they do have a test. They may have quizzes, they announce quizzes or pop quizzes. So if they miss a quiz or test, it is their responsibility to notify me that they missed it and that they have to make it up, and they are expected to make that up upon the return. Therefore, an absence is no excuse for missing an assignment or part of one. One good thing about the digital situation we're in right now is that students have access to Infinite Campus and all the materials they need, the deadlines and the due dates, everything they can access that through Google Classroom. Late work is accepted, but will be penalized 1 full letter grade for each day it is late. So for example, I see students on Monday. If they had a homework assignment, they didn't have it done, and they turn it in when I see them next on Wednesday, the highest grade they can get is a B. Okay, well, what if they didn't have it on Wednesday either? Then I see them on Thursday, the highest grade they can get is a C, and it goes down from there. About a week and a half or 2 weeks later, the assignment wouldn't be worth anything. So because there is a late work policy, there's a little bit of flexibility, but students still got to be proactive in turning in that work. Although students will be expected to make up work when missed, when possible due to absences, it is impossible to recreate class discussions and everything we do in the classroom. So again, I told students to do the best you can to make it into class. And then finally, students have the same number of days to turn in work due to an excused absence as the number of days that were missed. So if they miss 1 class day, they have an extra day to make up the assignment. If they miss 2 class days, they have 2 extra days to make up the assignment. Again, then just with excused, if you want to excuse an absence, just go ahead and call into the attendance office and you can excuse the absence. So what does a student typically do in A-Push? What is a normal day like? So the night before, students are given, they are to complete reading notes, and they have a reading calendar that they're given in, the first day of school. And they complete reading notes. They take notes either on a separate sheet of paper and that they're keeping organized, or they take it in a notebook. They come into class, we always do something with it. Either we're doing a lot of thinking maps. There may be times where I'm lecturing in class, giving students direct instruction. We do a lot of primary and secondary source analysis where students can really dive into to skill development and really diving into a source analysis. And then as we get to the end of the class, we come back together and I go through just announcements and homework, and then I dismiss students from there. Roles and responsibilities, I more so want to focus in on parents, guardians, and families. How can you come alongside your student this semester to help them be successful? Number one, take an interest in what your student is studying. I always love when students come in and they go, hey, Ms. Barr, my family during dinner time, we were able to talk about this and it was really cool. And this is actually something that we just talked about in class today. It's neat to hear when students are actually talking about content outside of class. So take an interest in what your student is learning. Work with your student to structure time, to have good time management. Obviously prioritizing academics is really important. And I also told students, take time for your mental health. Make sure that you are actually sleeping. AP students seem to lack a lot of sleep. Make sure you are taking time to take care of yourself as well. That's important. And please encourage them to do that. If you see that they're spending hours doing reading notes for my class, have them reach out to me or reach out to me so we can go ahead and work with the student and just help them prioritize their time better. Monitor your students' progress. Again, I'm regularly updating grades. If you see your student is struggling or having difficulties, step in, let me contact me through email or have your student contact me so we can help them move forward. Also, too, students have the opportunity to make an appointment during West Ranch's Flex Time, where it kind of acts as a tutorial, and they can send me an email. I'll send them a Zoom link, and they can go ahead and get some one-on-one help for whatever questions that they may have. If they were absent too, they can do this if they want more information about what we did in class that day. And then finally, going back into 5, and I know I've said this a few times, but if you have questions, if you have concerns, please communicate with me or have your student communicate with me. I am excited to work with you this semester to partner with you to help your student be successful in the course.